Right, good morning and welcome to Musings of a Madman. I am your host, the last operator of the universe, and what are we going to talk about today? Today, I didn't actually have a topic prepared, but then it just came to me, Let me talk about the one thing that I love the most and the one thing that's bothered or occupied like the higher brain functions of my mind for the past 6 years or so. This one thing is the series The Flash. Oof, The Flash. The thing about The Flash is it's a great series about a superhero with super speed. This is a very cool power. He should be able to do virtually anything in the blink of an eye. And yet they find many convoluted ways to have the team involved and have him being helped and all that. But overall, like, I love the show, honestly. Like, I enjoy the show every time an episode comes out, every time the new season comes out, I'm there ready to watch it. It makes me giddy to just think about it. I already know that the next episode of season 7, the first episode of season 7 is coming out in February. So it's a long wait for me, and I'm gonna be biting my nails until it comes out. The one thing that I loved about the show is that the villains are freaking awesome. The villains are amazing, okay? Like, halfway through, I think you notice the villains before the mid-season break. So through the first half of the series, right, you have small villains every now and then the main villain pops up right before the mid-season break, and he is awesome. He's got a gravelly voice. Oh, he's got supernatural abilities, and he looks scary. Okay, he looks scary and frightening, and it just makes you wonder what the hell are we gonna do next. Well, the first villain was the Reverse Flash. The Reverse Flash is not quite the villain you'd expect. He came back in time to try and kill the inspiration for his superpowers and his costume and just basic livelihood. He's a super villain simply because he wants to oppose the Flash. So he only exists because the Flash exists. So he goes back in time and he wants to kill the Flash as a child. Now, Future Flash comes back in time with him, and as he's about to kill, Senior Flash from the future saves Junior Flash, and Reverse Flash is stuck with having to kill Barry's mother instead of the actual Junior Flash. So he kills Barry's mother, and then our series starts. Now, immediately, if you were like paying attention, you'd wonder something weird is going on here. The weird thing here is that Future Flash comes back in time to save himself. Now, if that was the first time this has happened, if this is the first time that Reverse Flash has come back in time to come and kill Junior Flash as a kid, then Future Flash should see this as creating a new timeline. The moment he comes back in time, he's creating a new time zone, a new timeline, and this is an entirely new universe. A universe where his mom was killed and he grew up without his mom. Essentially, Future Flash, we can expect, had his parents from the get-go. And here you have Barry's father accused of murdering his mother, so his father goes to jail, and the Flash starts, the episode starts, the show starts actually. Now, the Reverse Flash here, his motivations are basically to go back to the future. And the easiest way he finds to do this is to create the Flash sooner than the Flash would have been created. So essentially, he helps the hero, Barry Allen, get his powers sooner than expected by creating some sort of particle accelerator. Oh, there are spoilers here, by the way, we're at season 1 so far. So he creates some sort of particle accelerator machine. This gifts people with powers and gifts his antagonist, his enemy, the Flash, his powers. And eventually, apparently his plan is to use the Flash's power, Speed Force, and use that to go back to the future, back to his time, and live his life. Now, I don't want to go into details of how it went down and all that, but like I said, the villain, when they first show up, very scary, very, very domineering, just intimidating nature and intimidating aura. It just makes you want to run for the hills, So the first time he showed up, he kicked Barry's ass. This is the standard procedure for most villains that show up in the show. They show up for the first time and they kick the hero's ass. They make the hero look like he hasn't been doing anything, because before he meets the villain, he's like, I'm so powerful, I'm so fast, I'm amazing. And then he meets the villain and then he gets just wrecked. Long story short, the Reverse Flash was killed, but not really killed because time travel is an iffy thing. I won't get into it. The second villain, Saboteur. Ooh, oh, no, that's the third villain. Sorry. The second villain was Zoom. Zoom was badass. Zoom was freaking just. He went straight up, just went around killing people. It was amazing. You know, it was actually scary. Okay, frightening that a villain would just show up and start killing people. Before, the villains just toyed with the Flash, you know, just messed with his mind and all that. This guy actually just wanted to hurt people, and he did it, just randomly and uncomfortably. The other thing that they repeated in the second season with the Zoom was they have this tendency of having the villain join the team under disguise, and somewhere along the way they sort of discover that, you know, this guy we've been working with, he's the bad guy, he's the villain, you know, he's the villain in disguise. And I always hated the way they discovered this, is because it was so intuitive, man. Like, of course it must be. They didn't actually work things out. They made it seem like they're working things out. You know, they're doing some calculations, linking some things together, and then finally they end up at the right I want to say diagnosis, at the right conclusion. They find out, my God, this guy is, you know, Zoom. He is the Reverse Flash or whatever. And this was just annoying. It was bothersome. It slowed down the pacing of the show, or rather, no, it sped up the pacing of the show so they could get to their finale. But I felt like they could have just held on to that secret identity for long enough for us to just be scared enough to, you know, to get past the point where we know too much, because they show the audience literally everything, and that sort of ruins the momentum of the show. Anyway, Zoom was defeated as well by some ridiculous convoluted means, as always. Our hero never got a chance to exact revenge or whatever, do anything to Zoom. Zoom killed his fucking father, man. It was horrible. But our hero does not kill Zoom. Our hero finds a way for Zoom to sort of get killed by himself. Season 3, Saboteur. Right. Saboteur was awesome. Just as awesome as well, honestly. Until we find out it's just a dude in a suit. That was the biggest mistake of them all. They could have kept it as Future Flash or whatever. It could have been a doppelganger. I don't care what they were doing there, you know. They told us it was the doppelganger of Flash that sort of ran back in time and somehow became, it was nonsense, okay? Every single part of it was nonsense, because they created a villain who apparently had to go back in time and do things that happened in the past in order for him to exist. So he gave himself a bootstrap, it's called the bootstrap paradox. And it's a time travel paradox where, how do I describe this? Let's say I go to the shop and buy a copy of Harry Potter and the Order of the Phoenix, right? No, let me go back further. Harry Potter and the Philosopher's Stone, the first book. Let's say I buy this book and I go back in time to 1998 or 1990, before J.K. Rowling knows how to write the book, before she even has ideas about the book. I go back in time and I give her this book, and she reads it and she copies ideas from this book, right? And then before she even thought about it, she copies ideas from this book, and then she somehow manages to publish the book. She copies the entire book, somehow manages to publish the book as her own, and it's created. Now, the paradox part of it there is, who actually created the book, the Philosopher's Stone? Because I'm the one who gave J.K. Rowling the inspiration to write the book. Then she wrote it. But what she wrote was something that I took from the future and brought to her, that she had already written. You see the paradox part of it. So the question comes, if I don't go back and give her the book, does she still write the book? And if she does still write the book, you know, if she doesn't write the book, I mean, do I still have the book? Do I still know that the book exists? Actually, no, I'm going too far into this. Anyways, the point of the argument is that you don't know who wrote the book originally, because I gave her the book that she copied, and that's what she published. But if I hadn't done that, she possibly wouldn't have been able to write it. So the question remains, did I inspire J.K. Rowling to write the book, or did J.K. Rowling somehow, some way draw me to her to write the book? Either way, I'm still too much involved because I'm from the future and that shouldn't be possible. Anyways, back to the Flash. This is what Saboteur is trying to do. essentially he's created a closed loop, and he says he has to do things exactly the same way that they happened the first time. Otherwise, he doesn't exist. Or in our case, Harry Potter, the Philosopher's Stone, does not exist. And there are many things wrong with this. The worst part was they had things in the show where the team, the Flash team, is trying to stop Savitar by changing the past little by little. But then they claim that some things have to be set in stone. Some things have to happen exactly the same way, which is ridiculous. Savitar is claiming that he has to do all these things for him to exist, but he already exists. I don't know if I'm making sense here, but this is nonsense, okay? Time travel cannot be used like this. You cannot flip-flop with time travel. Remember when I said in season 1, the first season where we had Flash, Future Flash and Reverse Flash come back in time and sort of have an altercation there? Their very act changed the future. But here, that's not what's going on. You have the reverse Savitar coming back in time, changing things, talking differently, affecting the future in many different ways, but it does not affect the future apparently. Things have to go exactly as were planned in the beginning. And honestly, that's trash. Savitar was an amazing villain until we found out who he was. Until we found out that there was a man behind the suit. Until we found out the man behind the suit is a Future Flash. Which has ruined everything, man. Savitar was freaking scary, he was awesome, his voice was gravelly and just powerful, and he glowed blue, and I memorized multiple quotes from this guy because I was just so enamored by who he was. He just called himself a god, and then later on we found out he was less than a god, he was just some ordinary being. I hope I haven't gone on too long here, so let me wrap it up. Season 4 was what exactly? Season 4 was he fought some mind master or whatever. Okay, they want to do a non-speed related villain. It was Mr. DeVoe. He was a genius. He wanted to collect all the powers. It was nonsense. We move on. Season 5, we have more time travel shenanigans, okay? More time travel fucking shenanigans. This show does not know how to stop, honestly. Season 5, we have Nora Allen. Barry Allen and his wife, Iris West Allen's daughter from the future, comes back in time and starts helping them defeat villains. Now, the problem with this is, apparently when she helps them defeat a certain villain, this causes the Reverse Flash, who's trapped in the future, to escape, because this was all part of his plan. Whew, yeah, I feel tired even talking about it. So, Reverse Flash in the future escapes because of what's happening in the past in real time. Doesn't make sense, but okay. Because apparently there was some mechanism that was keeping him trapped in the future, and this mechanism, it was a lightning rod type of weapon, was destroyed in the past. So it being destroyed in the past means that it doesn't have the power to hold him anymore, which is not how it should work. It should not have been used to hold him in the first place if it's destroyed in the past. Then it doesn't. Time travel, guys. Time fucking travel, okay? Maybe I should have made a video about time travel. Anyways, Nora Allen gets wiped from the timeline because apparently what they did, defeating the bad guy the way they did, creates a new timeline where she doesn't get born and the future is different. And we move on. Season 6, I think, was their most interesting season, actually. It was the cleverest season they've had and the most interesting one, but it had the same plot devices that they usually use. The villain sort of what infiltrates a team, and eventually they find out who the villain has infiltrated the team through unbelievable means, and then eventually they expose the villain and so on and so forth. Excuse me. Season 6 ended abruptly because of coronavirus, and I'm guessing it didn't go as per the storyline as expected, and it ended in a cliffhanger type of thing. Anyways, these were the ramblings of a madman. I hope this was not a complete waste of your time. This was meant to be entertaining, guys. Stay safe and happy studying for those who are in exams.